Welcome, S38 Fire Team. We are back. I'm your humble host, Dre Zoom. I have my mans with me, Adam and Brooklyn. We're here. We're going to do a little quick, short episode for you guys. But before that, I'm going to let them say what's up. Adam, what's going on, man?
Hello, everyone. Good to see you. Break out the tissues for this episode. It's a special one.
Yeah, we could definitely do that. Brooklyn, what's going on, man?
Brooklyn here. Thank you for joining us on the S38 Fire Team podcast. Glad to see you.
Awesome. Yeah. We've got a couple episodes in the tank, so that's good. I'm gonna get back on. I'm back in the groove. We'll get them cranked out. You guys know, you've guys seen our vintage prep episode. So we're busy doing that, but doing these podcasts, as we talked about before, it's so much fun for us. So we're gonna squeeze this in as well. Adam, what you working with there? T-shirt wars. What's up?
Oh, so I've got there's another guy that's local to me. He does like this Angry Squirrels company. He does like art and t-shirts and stuff like that. And this is his Urbits shop, Urbits shirt. It's I'd rather be in the shop. So it has a big old angry squirrel on the back. And I sort of sponsored this guy. So I'm trying to get the Slick Top City name out on some enthusiast gear, but this is one of the guys that I support in the local Yuma area.
Nice.
Also Marine.
Hoorah.
Even better. Brooklyn, you've got I like that shirt. I was wearing mine this weekend down in Miami.
I got the Bromos Racing shirt down in Jacksonville. Duvo down in Jacksonville, Florida. It's got the bunch of
there you go.
Racing Porsches on the back.
Right on. I love that shirt. It's really well. Yeah.
What do you got?
Just keep it a buck.
Vintage 2017, a good year. They're all good years, but like every year has their own thing. And some vintage shirts are better than others. This year is going to be the E21. I look forward to getting my E21 shirt. As you guys may know or remember, I learned to drive on my brother's 1977 BMW 320i E21 Alpine white, blue interior. At the time, I didn't know what it was, but they stuffed the seats with horsehair back in those days, and they had a real BMW German smell to them.
Yeah,
it smelled good.
Yeah, good stuff. Yeah, I love this shirt. I said it's cool, but I always liked that it had red. Because then I would I got to match the kicks. I got to get the shoes with a little bit of red trim anyway. So you got to make it happen like that. But yeah, I love and 2017 was the year that Bob debuted at Vintage as well. So also a good year. That was a pretty
home of the waffle.
Yeah,
2016 was the year that the Waffle House announcement of Bob.
Right.
Because Deontay was back home taking delivery and throwing a risky business style party at the house, I'm sure.
Yeah, that came later. Believe it or not, it didn't. But another story, another day. So it had what now?
I love how I didn't have one, and now I automatically have one as soon as
I know. I just had to I just had to pull your string, is all.
Right. So you guys recall I had like 6 Nissan 240 SXs, the S13 body style, which was something like 1989 to 93, and then to 94, and then the 1995, like Dr. Robinson had he bought a 95 and then he bought a 97. But this is the flip-up headlight, Sylvia and 180SX in Japan. I had hatchbacks. I had, I think, 5 hatchbacks and a coupe. The last one I sold. No, it couldn't be the last.
It has a small window, right?
What's that?
Coupe means it has a small window.
Coupe means it has a trunk.
Okay.
And the hatchback had a gigantic,
All right. Big piece of glass, yeah.
So they had the hatchbacks. Most of mine were hatchbacks. I think a very popular color was the burgundy, because I think I had like 3 burgundy. No, I had 2 gray, burgundy, red, and then gold. So my favorite one was the only one that I bought that wasn't working when I bought it. And it was, I think it was a 92, but I got the engine out of I got the dual overhead cam, KA24DE engine out of like a later, like a 90s, like a 95 or 96 240SX. I bought that engine in New Jersey, put it in the back of my brother-in-law Fitzroy's. Shout out to Fitzroy and my sister Keisha. My brother-in-law Fitzroy, they had a Isuzu Rodeo at the time.
Damn, he dated this story.
You took
It was a Isuzu
all
Rodeo.
of the capacity of
No, it might have been a Honda Passport, because it was the 4-door, not like the Jeep Isuzu Rodeo. It was the SUV.
Okay.
So whatever it was, that vehicle was later killed by a cop car that ran out of control and crashed in front of the house and totaled their SUV.
Nice.
But anyway, found it. This might be the only thing I've ever purchased on eBay, and I didn't even purchase it on eBay because I never, for whatever reason, because I'm 85-year-old man on the inside, I never trusted eBay, those whippersnappers. And I called the guy and arranged a deal over the phone, drove up to New York, got my brother-in-law. We went to New Jersey, picked up the transmission. Now, in hindsight, I don't remember how I got it back down to Maryland, but my neighbor Troy, I didn't even live in this house. I lived in a house down the block that I've showed you guys that when I first moved to Maryland, and that house didn't have a garage. So
you had six S13s at the house.
Had 6 S13s at the house, and so we pulled that 92 gold on like brownish gray interior. It had some sweet buckets in it. Up to the sliding glass door.
Oh my god.
Oh, now Dre, this is up Dre's alley. Now Dre loves the story.
Right? Your Jamaican is showing. Tuck it in.
Sliding glass door. Got an engine hoisted out the old engine, put in the new engine, fired right up, and ran like a scolded cat.
Nice.
So believe it or not, before we all started hanging out, I have actually, at least helped in my own engine swap. Yeah. So I loved that car. What happened was I was selling one of the other cars, one of the red 240s or something, and a guy came from, I believe, from Virginia to come look at it, or from because people came from New York. I was just selling them on Auto Trader, and people would just, when I decided to get rid of them, and people would just come and get them. The guy came to look at another 240, and he was like, "What about this gold one?" And I was like, "Oh, my coupe." Oh, also, Dre would remember this. I put the Motegi wheels. I got these. I put these Motegi wheels on my Altima on one of the time right before we went to one of the Nopi National shows. Probably back in, remember we went to a show like right after September 11th.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Nopi was like, the buildings might have still been burning. Yeah, that's the interior they had in them. That's that they had cloth.
Nice.
It looked just like that. Yeah. That's a nice place to be. Like when I see these Sylvias and these R32 Skylines and stuff, I'm like, this is a 240SX interior. It's essentially all the same stuff, or most of the same stuff. Yeah, the guy wanted the gold one, and he kept making me offers. And I eventually ended up selling it to him. But I let him leave with my license plates, and he never sent the license plates back. And I don't like that. If you're out there, that's we'll try to keep it family friendly today, but that's not proper. You know who you are. I'm sure karma has dealt with you since. But yeah, no, that car was amazing. I loved that car. I love the shape of it. I love the way it drove. I put 17-inch Motegis on it because the stock wheels were very small. I feel like 14, 15s. And I still had the Motegis from my Altima days. And yeah, that was a great car. I'd love to have one. They don't have, I want to say they had something like a 150, 155 horsepower. It wasn't a lot of power, but the cars were also not heavy. So and that rear wheel drive, and this before I even had the M3 or any of my BMWs, that rear wheel drive manual transmission on a light car, just dual overhead cam, and also the Nissan KA, which was originally a truck engine, like in the hard body trucks or something. That thing, it gave good power. It was practically indestructible. It wasn't like the SR20 DET where everybody wanted one and like, I have a red top, I have a black top, blah 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 blah. But it was just a good, engine, and those were great cars. So yeah, that is one that got away. Because I paid $300 for that car at an auto auction. Yep.
I was hoping you'd find a gold one.
Yeah, or a coupe.
Oh, so it was a coupe.
But one of them that I had looked like that. What's that going for nowadays? I'm sure that's a pretty penny. That's automatic.
Automatic, yeah. It doesn't have a price. Oh, but you had a coupe.
Gold coupe.
The gold one was a coupe. But all the others were all the others were hatchbacks.
Wait, was it gold or like bronze it, like Nissan bronze it? I guess we're gonna find out here in a minute.
It was bronze-ish.
We're gonna find out here in a minute. There's a guy I watch called Jimmy Oakes. He does a bunch of S13 stuff. Man, it is so much fun watching him. And he's got like a whole stack of K24s and all the things. And the crazy wings and body kits and like the special mirrors and really cool wheels. I mean, he builds them. He builds like several of them. I think he's moving on to like cooler things now, but he does have a lot of those, and man, he loves them so much.
There's a couple of them on Bring a Trailer. They've got a couple gold hatchbacks though.
Sandstone beige metallic.
Yeah, that's bronze it.
That interior, it's a limited edition. That interior is not like mine. Mine was more like the one that you posted before, where it's just it was like a tweed.
Nice.
Not bad performance. I think 0 to 60 in like 8 seconds.
I mean, it was a 4-cylinder.
Yeah, 8.6 seconds.
And none of them came with a turbo, right?
Nope.
No, not in America.
I wanted one of these, something furiously bad back in the day.
Really?
Did you want it fast and furious?
I did want it. I love the S14. After playing Gran Turismo, it was just like those cars were handled so well.
Yes, that was definitely one of the faves of the programmers for sure.
Yeah, it handled really well, and it was of course when you put a turbo on there.
Go ahead.
I built an NA one once, and it was still spicy as all get out.
Well, they also had it was also in Initial D, and then I was in Japan from 98 to 2000 the first time, and so dude, these were everywhere. Were everywhere. Not only that, but we had the S15 as well, and the S15 looked so sick. Man, those headlights were amazing. They were so cool.
We never got the S15 here.
No, we didn't.
Just the S13 and S14.
Correct. Yep.
Actually, we got the S12s too. I think that was a 200
if you go
SF.
back in generation,
Yeah, it was
when,
like this.
you know, we really should have did an episode on Nissan's glory years, being that the whole thing fell through between them and Honda. But this is one of the cars that were, you know, they were a staple of you know, Nissan, and it's one of those cars that at the time when they were new, nobody really cared about them. You know,
right?
Nobody cared about these cars. They were overshadowed by the Honda Preludes and the Diamond Star triplets, and you know,
I don't see
even
how
Nissan's own.
Those cars couldn't have performed anywhere near this. This is rear-wheel drive manual transmission,
but it was a naturally aspirated truck engine that didn't rev very well. You know, so it wasn't slow, but when you get into, you know,
or you got the Supra. You're opposite the Supra.
When you got VTEC,
you're sitting in the showroom next to your little big brother. That's a 300ZX twin turbo, even the naturally aspirated 300ZX. So you're not even the coolest kid in your family, right? And then the Diamond Star triplets, those were fast, right? And same interior setup, you know. So, and then of course you couldn't touch Honda with the quality of the Prelude. You know, you could probably outrun a Prelude or at least run with a Prelude, but you weren't, you know, people knew that there was a difference between a Honda and a Nissan, you know. But you know, leave it to Japan and everything starts up with the drift craze. And I'm telling you, when I was in Hawaii, we used to do these Nissan meets. Not one of these damn 240s came to the meet with all the right body panels. I'm like, bro, you have a red bottle panel and the rest of your car's white. He has a white body panel. I was like, please switch. You know, like it's the exact same panel. You know, they different.
Yeah, I sold them. I sold mine before I went off the deep end. But you could get like louvered front quarter panels. You could get wide body that you'd have to like. There was a hole for the gas tank. I mean, for the gas cap. Like they had like you could get boxed fenders for them. It was you could obviously, you know, I guess you could with any car, but you could, or like with a Harley Davidson, you could double the price of your 240SX with parts and accessories, and right that in that sweet spot in the early 2000s.
Yeah,
you could go crazy. And the guys that were coming to the guys and gals that were coming to buy them from me, they were all like, yeah, I got an SR20 DET from Japan to drop into this. And so they were all planning to do swaps. So
yeah, so you know, none of those cars are where they are. None of those cars are in the way that left your house. That's the last time that they were stock. I can promise you that.
Right.
That was the last time.
Nice. Yeah, that's why it's such a unicorn to find one nowadays. If you can find a stock one, it's almost impossible.
Yeah, it's always the little old lady and, you know, insert oddball town that has hers that's hung on to it, that all the teenagers come and harass her to sell it over time and time again.
Dude, that's the story. I've got a friend who she's got to be about 55, and she has one, and she bought it new in 1990.
Yeah,
and it's the burgundy color, and she doesn't stop at a gas station or whatever without people, you know, asking her about it or trying to buy it or finding notes on it literally every week. You know,
I think they're starting to kind of dry up though.
Oh yeah,
those
they're on the back end.
Yeah.
What were you saying, Wolf?
They're all kind of drying up though. You know, like you know, not only the parts for it, but also like clean examples. You know, they've either all been bashed in or ripped apart for others. You know.
Yeah, they're at the bottom. You're not finding them. You're not finding them really in junkyards. Even when they're in mint condition, I don't even really see them in auctions that much. You know, I'm pretty sure Bring a Trailer could tell a better story, but they've all been run through. You know, they've all been run.
Which is really unfortunate.
This example I put in the chat, 38,000 miles. It was in Canada. I mean, sold for 13,000. That seems like a good deal.
Probably that was in 2020.
What's that?
That was in 2020.
Yeah, that one was in 2020. But they've sold some recently. One sold on January 19th, 2025. But this one is this
Guaranteed
one
that's
has an
an alarm.
SR20 swap, and it's still only sold for $10,000.
Oh yeah.
That's highly modified. I see more with aftermarket wheels than with stock wheels.
Yeah, them stock wheels left the chat many moons ago.
Oh yeah, definitely. But they only came with like 15s or maybe 16s, right?
Yeah, like 15, 16s. And they were four lug as well. So if you really
and the wheel wells are pretty big. I mean, you can fit an 18 in there
and if
pretty easily.
you wanted to really flex, you would do a 5 lug swap from the Z31, and then you could fit the bigger brakes and all of that stuff. But they still had stuff for the 4 lug as well. All right, Adam, what do you have?
I forgot that we're on the line with Nismo 2020 here.
The real king of Nissans.
Know you about that life.
The real king of Nissans around here.
So the car that I regret getting rid of, I didn't even sell it. The car that I regret getting rid of was back in 2012 when I came west. I had Green Hell. This was my 86 325E poked and stretched special with copper paint, real copper paint. So I bought it like this from a guy in Ohio, I believe it was.
Oh, damn.
And it was already pretty much internet famous at the time. I bought it, and it was like a real departure for me. You know, this poke and stretch, the 16x9 Borbit type tees with the deep lips. Man, I mean, it just struck me. I really like the car. You know, you see it still has the 5 mile per hour diving boards on it that have been pushed in, and they took the rear trim, the rear bumper trim, and put it on the front plate or front bumper, so it looks really smooth.
Well, I was wondering what that was.
Yeah, they just took the trim and just put it on the front bumper, so that there's no need for the filler there.
Yeah,
but I always thought that was an elegant solution. But the car was
really good. It kind of gives it that Euro that we were looking at earlier, that Euro bumper look. Right. Early, not the plastic bumper, but the early metal bumper.
Right. So the car was dumped. I mean, it was really low. As a matter of fact, I remember the drain plug on the oil pan was flat. So I knew how far to tighten it because it would line up with the ground again. That was really good times. Really good times. And man, if you look carefully at the photo up there was no windshield wiper. So that was a what do you call it? Rain-X special.
Rain-X. You know what's funny? Me and Katie, and when we went to Cars and Coffee one time, and you know, there's these, speaking of no windshield wipers, but you know, some track cars and race cars that they would bring them to Cars and Coffee, and of course they have no windshield wipers. And I pointed it out to Katie, and I was like, "Look, Katie, and he doesn't even have windshield wipers." And his mind was blown that a car could not have windshield wipers. Right. He was just like, "How is this?" And so, like the rest of we're walking around, and every time he was like, "Dad, look, it doesn't have windshield wipers." And his mind is like, "That car is serious."
Yeah. I mean, I don't know. I really like that car a bunch. I got it in, I think, 2008, and they got rid of it in 2012. And you can see the plate there. I mean, you know, I ordered the plate, and I put a couple extra spots in the plate so that I could put that sticker in the middle.
Did you keep that plate?
Yeah, I'm pretty sure I still have it. Yeah. So I don't know. That car was so much fun. That's actually how I met Brooklyn. So
yep.
I rolled up to my job in Maryland. When I moved up to Maryland, you know, drove that car up the 95 to Maryland, and I don't know, parked it next to a black E36, and Brooklyn came up.
There you go.
Thank you.
Stop doing that.
Parked it next to a black E36, and he came over. He's like, "Whose copper E30 is this out on the driveway?" So
Don't park next to my E36. Oh, that's cool, man. That's some. I haven't seen dish that deep since I ordered from Pizza Hut the other day. Good night. Look at that thing.
It was
that car really had and I'm saying something with all the cars the Wolf has had, but that car really had presence. Like it was internet famous, but that car in person, it would just like everybody. It's kind of like popular music or something. Like everybody had an opinion, you know. It's kind of one of the things you either loved it or you hated it. But I think most people like got the art of it, because the E30 is a classic shape, but it really was like an old school penny. It was truly copper, you know, and it was a real it was real shocking to see it. Great car. Actually, that's the first E30 I ever drove, and it was quite an experience.
Yeah, that's and it came with those wheels, Adam.
Yeah, I believe it was 205s on a 9-inch wheel.
Yeah,
so if you can imagine,
about right.
Yeah, just crazy stretch. And I don't think you know what? I don't even think I had the front coilovers bottomed out. Like I think I still had an inch or two to go, but it was plenty low enough. I mean, luckily, you know, luckily the car was, you know, it was a lot of fun. You know, it was work to drive that car because it was so low. But yeah, just a great car, and I miss that thing every day.
Yeah,
literally.
That's such an Adam car now,
huh?
That's such an Adam car now, huh?
Yeah, for sure. I mean, you know, it had a lot of presence, like Brooklyn was saying, and it was kind of a special car. It was sort of outside of my normal tastes, but you know,
I thought you were going to say that you missed the Panda, so I was actually surprised by that choice. No, because this was about the one that got away.
Right. Yeah, I couldn't bring Panda home from Japan when I was a Lance Corporal or Corporal, whatever, coming back from Japan. That would have been ridiculous. I really wanted to, but yeah, I wish I could get that one back. So I'll just have to suffice and build another one, I guess.
Yeah, and what's crazy is let's say that you had just put that car in cold storage back then, and then you go in 2025 and go get it. You could just put gas in it and drive it to vintage, and it would fit right in. And you're ahead of your time. That car, I see, you know, like I see about 4 or 5 styles of those type E30s.
I'm positive that we went to vintage. We must have gone to that first vintage while you still actually had possession of that car.
Yeah, you know, I remember going east, or I'm sorry, going west in North Carolina, and a lot of the guys that were going to the first few vintages, you know, the E30 crew, they were gaga over the car. They were like, "Holy crap, this is that car," right? And then those guys, when they see me at vintage, they still ask me about that copper car.
Yeah, no, right on. Yeah, that car would fit right the fuck in, like not miss a beat. You know?
I don't know if I would do that again. I don't know if I would go like super poke and stretch on an E30 again. You know, I think I would go a little more conservative on the wheel choice.
Yeah.
But like I said, for that car, it just worked.
Yeah. Yeah, look good. That's a beautiful car. All right, you guys ready to see the winner?
Go.
This car I sold in, had to be 08. Might have been 08, 09, probably 08. Only had it for like maybe a year, and it was a passion purchase for sure. Kind of caught up in the moment and realized that I could actually get this car. I didn't think that I get this thing where I panic that a car is not going to become available anymore. I really do. With this car, this Lancer Evo, I was like, these cars are, you know, it was the last year that Mitsubishi was making them new, you know, and I was like, they're gonna vanish off the face of the earth. I really wanted an Infinity M45 for a lot of years, and I almost bought one a couple times. But again, it was like I knew that this car was, it was going to, just like with the 240s, like they just kind of all get used up off of the used car market through the years. So that was like what was really panicking me, and like really made me like, just like, I get where I fall in love with a car, and like it's just a burning desire. I'm sure you guys are familiar, burning desire to buy it. So I found this one. He was a Navy lieutenant, and he was selling it to buy what, a 911, of course. And so he had it on, I think I found it on like cars.com or Auto Trader or something like that. But it's a 2006 Mitsubishi Lancer Evolution MR, right? Which, the MR, I guess, stands for Mitsubishi Racing. I don't know why these pictures aren't big. They're big on
what Lancer is that?
This is the Evo 9, right? So this is the Evo 9, and
is that the last good one?
It's the last. This is the best one. This is the best, in my opinion. A lot of people say the Evo 8 or the 7 or even the 4, but I think the Evo 9 was the best one. It had the variable lift technology in the engine, the MyVec, and it had all the right goodies. This one was in Apex Silver, and the previous owner had the wing removed. As you can see, he's got this is when I bought it. He was a blue sticker. He was an officer.
Blue sticker.
Cool dude. Yeah, he was cool dude.
Is that the stock front bumper?
This car was 100% stock. There was not a single modification to this car, which we'll get back to that here in a second. But yeah, Apex Silver, and he took it back to Mitsubishi after he bought it, or to a body shop, I can't remember, and had the wing, because there's a wing. He had the wing removed, and they filled it in on the trunk and repainted it. And while they did that, they removed, I'm gonna see if I got a good picture of it, but they debadged it as well. So
I like that.
So it was a real sleeper, no wing. And it was just, the car was just, it was probably the most, even with the cars that I have now, just one of the most technological. And it was a rally. It was a race car for the street. It was a rally car. Big, dumb, stupid Recaro seats, 6-speed transmission. You had the gauges right there. You had the Momo steering wheel, Momo pedals, BBS wheels, Brembo brakes. It's basically everything that you could ever want to do to a car. It was already done. Not to mention, this thing was dumb fast, right? 0 to 60.
Turbo 270, 280 horsepower.
It was 270 horsepower. I want to say 3-something torque. Right. I would have to 0 to 60 was in like 4.6 seconds. Quarter mile was like 12.9, 12.8. And the turbo just, the car was just, it was just so fast. I was always scared. I didn't want to. It was all-wheel drive, by the way. I never wanted to grenade the transmission, so I never did a full dry launch. But one morning I was on the way to work, and it was a little bit of, it was a little bit of rain, and I was at the light, and I was just like, early in the morning, and I was just like, bang, 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 bang. It just dumped the clutch, and it just like, and like the front wheels were just like, shh. I could hear them, like, dude, the thing, it was almost actually faster when you had a little bit of rain to like break the traction to get the wheel speed up than it was in the dry. That's a lot.
But these are all-wheel drive, right?
Yeah, these are all-wheel drive. And it had HID headlights, built-in fog lights in the headlight bucket. Slick top, no sunroof. It had the rally fins in the back. It had the antenna, the radio antenna in the back.
Vortex generators. Is that what those are called?
Yeah, vortex generators. It would disrupt the air coming off the top, so it would push down more on the wing.
Is that functional?
What?
Allegedly.
The vortex generator?
Yeah.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. Yeah, and even Subaru even bit off of Mitsubishi and did that on their next model. They did the same thing. But this car, and then it was silver, and I remember like pulling up to my parents' house at the time after I bought it. Like, you know, me and Deontay got out the car, and like my sister and my mom was like, "Oh, Carl, good. You got you a good economy car to get you back and forth to work. Good on gas. You're so smart, Carl. Just a nice economy car." And they were like, and my sister was like, "But mommy, I know Carl. He's gonna zhuzh it up. He's gonna get some nice wheels on there and everything." And I'm like, "Oh, like yeah, I'm good." They're like, "Get rid of those ugly wheels that's on there." And I'm like, "Oh my god!" And they had no clue. They really thought this was just like, you know. And that's the definition. We've talked about this before of a sleeper, where it's just you can't even tell that the car is there in traffic, you know. But like, yeah, the car was 100% bone stock. So, and I still had my Maxima at the time too. This was really my first foray into keeping a car stock and not modifying it, because, you know, my Maxima had got everything done to it 2-3 times over. And I said, you know what? I'm going to keep this one stock. Right. So I did. I wanted to like do coilovers maybe and an exhaust, but that really was like pushing the limit of what I want to do. Maybe an intake, but everything reversible.
Let me stop you right there. Is that a Cadillac Escalade behind you, behind the car?
Is that
a Cadillac Escalade Power Wheels?
Yeah, it is. That was my daughter's. Yeah. When those first came out, it was a big deal. Yeah. Yeah. Throw some D's on the Cadillac. My daughter would actually sing that song when she drove it. Yeah. Yeah. I have video of it somewhere. Yeah, that was a Cadillac. And but yeah, you say I even at the dealership, they even gave me an Evo poster. Because I actually looked at one at the dealer, test drove it too. But I ended up finding this one used. You know, it only had 7,000 miles on it when I bought it, so it was almost brand new.
Really?
Yeah, it only had 7,000 miles on it, and I kept it for a year, drove it to work. You know, and it was just a lot of fun. I even actually went to a couple of Evo meets, and you know, super weird. I'll never forget this. I was coming home from work, and I was at a stoplight, and a guy in an Evo 8 with I find out later that he had a big, nasty, big, huge upgraded turbo. We're at the light, and it's you get off the highway, and then it goes underneath the highway to get back to the road. We're both sitting at the light together. We roll down the window. I'm like, dude, nice Evo. He's like, yeah, man. I was like, dude, you never see these in traffic, you know? He's like, yeah. And you know, of course, the light turns green, so you know we got to get after it. Dude, the light turns green, and of course, you know, I'm bone stock, so I had quick spool. I'm out of there. This guy, you know, does his launch control rev or whatever. His car, like, I just look in my rearview mirror. It just sits back like this, takes off. He lights up all four wheels, loses it in the middle of the intersection, spins out like, wow, and just like loses it in the middle of the intersection. And this is at like twilight, you know, at rush hour. And I'm like, ah. And what was so wild, the guy just got done telling me, of course, at the stoplight, he's like, I did this, I got this, 500 wheel horsepower, and I'm like, oh man, mine's a stock. Dude, I dust him at the light, and he spins out, losing the control. We pull over at the gas station. He's like, yeah, I got to get some new tires. I'm like, yeah. You got to
get some track days.
Driver. That's what you need to do. Oh, man. But yeah, I met a couple cool guys. Really, really, the Evo guys, they're a little quirky, a little nerdy, as most car guys are. But they were all really cool, you know, and those cars. And again, it's kind of like with the 240. You don't see a lot of them stock anymore. And I ended up selling mine because I kind of got into a little bit of had some financial things that were looming that I was not sure that I was going to be able to keep, you know, paying a car payment at the time and a house payment for that, because I had just bought my house like maybe a year before that.
What year was this, when the years you owned this car?
07, 08. Yeah, 07, 08. And so I ended up and I bought the car for, relatively, it was in the 20s, right? And just a year later, and I listed it, and I listed it a little bit. I looked at the market, and I ended up selling it to this real young kid. It was super sad story. He actually wrecked he had a Sylvia, a S14, and he wrecked it, hurt himself really bad. He was like walking with crutches, but he got the money from the accident, and then he was with his mom and his mom's boyfriend, and they came to Jacksonville. They wanted to buy the car, and I was like, this is my price, and I ended up making a couple thousand off of the sale. And but it was cool. They were real. We went to the bank, we did everything. We went to the DMV, exchanged the whole day, put the tag in. They got a temp tag. But what was wild,
I feel like they should have given him something that wasn't even faster than the car.
What do you want? He wanted a Lancer Evo, and the guy
he's on crutches. Here, have a stick car.
Yeah. So I don't know if they thought the all-wheel drive was going to make things better, but I would say maybe 3 weeks, 2-3 weeks after I sold the car, he sends me a text message, and a picture, and I open it, and my poor Evo is on the dyno, putting down like well over 400 horsepower wheel. And he sends me a list of everything that he's done: upgraded intercooler pipes, downpipe, exhaust, intake, injectors, fuel pump. And I was just like,
lose my number.
I was like, that car's never going to be the same again. He sent me it was on the dyno, 4-wheel dyno, and he sent me a picture of it was like 476 wheel or something like that. And I was just like, cool.
He did everything the guy that was at the stoplight with you did. And he probably got the same results.
Exactly. Yeah. So anyway, that was I didn't even name the car. I didn't even have a name for the car. It was just the Evo. And it was really funny. It was like, again, like everybody thought it was this economy car, except for one of Deontay's friends. He's one of Deontay's really good friend. He knew what it was, right? And then I picked up Deontay, and he came outside, and he was like, "Is that an Evo MR?" And I was just like, he was like, "Oh my God, like I can't believe this." And he always wanted me to pick him and Deontay up in the car, and like, you guys know the stretch coming down to my house. Mm-hmm. And it's that little stretch, and then you make the left, and then he'd be like, "Mr. Carl, can you do that thing?" I'm like, okay. We would go around the roundabout. I would just floor it in second, and then just get on the brakes. I mean, the car would almost stand up on its nose, and he's just like, ah, Deontay's like, "Dad, why you always gotta drive like that?" I'm like, yeah, just but yeah, man, it's
well, you did keep the house though.
I did keep the house. And in hindsight, I even, I'm sometimes I'm mad I sold my Maxima too, but in hindsight, I probably could have kept the car. It would have, but it is what it is. We are the purpose of this episode is talking about, you don't have the hindsight to keep the car. You sell it. I thought that's what I needed to do at the time, and I did it. And then since then, but the real clincher is that I've gone back and look, I said, I want to buy another one, but they have more miles than the one I had. They're in worse condition, and they're more expensive. So that's a prompt way to end up in the poorhouse if you make financial decisions like that. So right. I just got to let this one go. RIP. Now it's the opposite way around under some stoplight, drag race or something. I don't know. Right. Yeah, man, that's my Evo. Oh man, car was legit, boy. That car was absolutely legit.
Yeah, definitely a sleeper for sure.
Yeah.
But it looked the part though. Like, with the fender flares. I mean, you had to know it was an Evo MR because of the fender flares and the front bumper. That didn't come on the regular.
Well, the Evo 9s had that style bumper. The Evo 8s had a different style bumper. It was a little bit, kind of like more peaky in the nose.
Sure.
But
what's the addition to the MR over the regular?
MR over the regular you could get a SE, which had a little aero package on it, but the MR had a 6-speed transmission, and it had a different interior. It still had the same Recaro seats, but it had like a different interior. They had the different wheels, and I want to say it was available in a different color, if I'm not mistaken. And there were some other small add-ons. I think maybe the diff had one more setting on it, because they had ice, gravel, and snow, gravel, and sand, maybe dirt. No, tarmac.
It didn't have the Boy Racer wing though.
The regular Evo,
Right?
Regular Evo came with the wing. Yeah,
did they?
The only Evo that did not come with the wing, which is the one I really wanted, this is your speed, Adam, was the RS, which is the strippy model, right? So you could get a base model RS that didn't have AC, didn't have radio, didn't have the gauges. It was 5-speed, and it was the lightest one. No door insulation.
Nice.
And it was a couple other things that it was missing. I think it was only available in white or some shit like that, some year ago. Yeah. So the RS, and then just the regular Evo, and then there was the MR. But the MR was the only one that came with the 6-speed.
And then you could just get a regular old Lancer.
And then you get a regular Lancer, which
did
not
get a rental car Lancer.
Very few body parts that it actually shared with it.
Right. Yeah. So everybody you knew, or the normies that you would be around, they would just see a Lancer.
They'd be like, great. They're like, Carl, you're so smart.
Look at Lancer.
Car. While I'm over here pumping 92, getting 17 miles per gallon highway. Smart, you gotta. And I'm like, yeah, that's it. That's the idea. Yeah. All right. Parting shots, Adam.
Yeah. So we've kind of discussed some of the cars that got away. And man, it is incredibly tough to like look back and see just some epic cars that we had. And again, I miss that copper E30 every single day, literally every single day. And so now, it's very difficult for me to sell anything. And luckily I didn't sell that car. Circumstances just kind of came through, and I had to get rid of that car. That's the one that ended up on the chop block. But I try to live my life a little more carefully now, so that I don't have to make decisions like that. But maybe someday I'll have another E30 that is similarly spec'd, and maybe with a slightly different look, but definitely the same aura.
Right on. Brooklyn.
Yeah. I agree. This episode really pulls at your heartstrings and makes you wonder if you could have made another choice, if you should have made another choice, and also kind of rekindles. A lot of our episodes do this, but it takes you back to like a younger, more innocent time when, we hadn't built up such a resistance. Like, I truly had fun in that car. Even on a short commute to work, it was just everything I'm enthusiastic about until this day, with none of the frills. I'd love to have another.
Yeah, that was some real wheeler dealer you had going on back then too. So that also was kind of like a different profile for you. People know you now as BMW Brooklyn, but they don't know you and I. We were both Nissan guys. Really. That was really the gateway drug that led to the other gateway drug. So that's always cool.
I'm sure there's a picture of us at Myrtle Beach with our Altima and Maxima, lowered on wheels. Everything we do now. But
and I think a big part of it was Nissan would finance anybody, so that's why we ended up with Nissans in the beginning.
E1 and up, young Marine.
E1 and up. They put anybody in there as long as you got that direct deposit coming in. They would put you in a Nissan. So that's how I became a Nissan guy. That's so you might see it in some of the whatever, but Nismo. I tell a story. There's some people in Atlanta right now. If they see me, they don't say Carl or Dre. They'd be like, Nismo, what's up? That's what I went. That was my online name, was Nismo 2020. So
about that life.
Yeah, I was. I've regretted selling that. I just really, even like some of my toys from when I was a kid, like I remember going back and like asking my mom, like, what happened to all my Hot Wheels? She was like, throw it right in the trash. I'm like, oh, you know, but if I could have taken that car and just stuck it in cold storage and just continue to make the payments and then, you know, pull it out now, I could be I definitely wouldn't sell it, but, you know, I could be, you know, it would just be such a cool story at the very least, you know. But, you know, as Adam hit the nail on the head, it has made me actually the runner up to that. There was another car I sold that I probably shouldn't have, but that one kind of played out different for different reasons. But, you know, the moral of the story is it makes you more selective and not just what you sell, but what you buy, right? Because it works in a reverse effect. You can look at a car and envision what part it's going to take in your life, in your automotive life, and then you know whether or not you really need the car, you know. So it works both ways. And then luckily we're in a position where we can, you know, take care of our cars and our finances a little bit better and have things figured out in life where we know what we're going to do with these cars and what we're going to use them for. So if you have had a car that you sold and you still have nightmares about it, you know, please let us know. Just hop in the comments, tell us your scary story or your nightmare story, or sometimes, you know, even if you had to buy it, you got a chance to buy it back. So this is S38 Fire Team. We appreciate you guys joining us this week. That's Adam, that's Brooklyn, I'm Dre Zoom.